3, 2, 1.
I'm Kristen.
And I'm Tony.
And this is Absolutely Stubborn.
How's my hair look?
Looks pretty good.
That's all right.
Do you even have gel?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
are you serious?
Sure.
You know, this needs hair. If anyone doesn't know what this type of hairstyle is, well, I don't know what the hairstyle is itself, but the hair type, it's almost like chia pet. So I don't know if anybody knows or can identify this type of hair, like just straight afro-y type, it just goes out. Let me know, please. I've been trying to find out for all my life. So we have one topic today. What's the topic?
So obviously everybody knows about it already. It's very, very sad. Kobe Bryant and his daughter and a couple other people that were on the helicopter ride passed away. So people are now tweeting about how TMZ was the first ones to report this and how they went about it, because of course they've done this in the past where they report something like this, something of someone's passing, and the family doesn't even have time to find out about it through authorities, and they find out through TMZ.
Yeah,
so pretty much this is what happened with Kobe's death, and his wife Vanessa found out through, I had read that she was at a basketball event or something with her other daughter, and somebody saw it on TMZ and pulled them to the side to let them know, and apparently they can hear her screaming from the other room that she was in.
Yeah, that's horrible.
So that's just devastating, and I couldn't even imagine losing my husband and my child and finding out in that way. So
it's so crazy that, so it's, again, as somebody who's privacy first, and I respect privacy, and it's something that I think it's fundamental in everybody. It's just a human right. I think that something like this is just it's just terrible. So that's first thing. But the problem is that the way the media is set up, it's really meant to kind of take advantage of this kind of thing. It's more of like a competition where whoever's first to report gets the big story, and then they just get more views, and then more views means more payment, more income streams, and more everything, more views, more eyesights, is that a thing? It's just more pay views and more views, and people click on their links. I just don't understand how TMZ can get this information before the family. Like how is that possible? I mean, unless they're there like what's that movie, Nightcrawler?
I don't even
where
know.
The guy's just sitting there,
Unless
listening to like a radio
literally
station.
Have somebody, but I mean, it's across the world. It's not like just in LA.
And how do they find out that Kobe was there?
Yeah, they must have. I'm assuming they overheard it, but they didn't even get the whole story before they announced it. Apparently, they announced that he passed and saying that he left behind his wife and his 4 daughters before even knowing that one of his daughters was on the plane with him. So it's they didn't even give the full story before posting it. And then Ben Baller on Twitter also says that his kids, I guess the other kids that were in school, found out at school from a classmate who found out on TMZ. So that's not a way for your kids to find out. Vanessa, his wife, wasn't even able to, tell her kids and console them, which is horrible.
It's just one of those things where, so I can understand. It doesn't make it right.
No.
So what I'm about to say does not excuse TMZ. But like I said, it's a business. They live off of that. That's their thing. They're the first to report. They're the first. If it wasn't TMZ, unfortunately, somebody else would have been. If you have this hot take, this story that just comes out, you want to be the first one to report on it. As tragic as it is, and it's horrible, you want to be the first one to, to report on it gets everything. If you're the first one to take a photograph of some crazy event, people are going to pay you the most. They're it's just the way that industry works. Doesn't make it right. No. It's horrible.
Unfortunately, that is the journalism world. And as crude as it is and as sad as that is, especially in such a tragic accident, it's just, people are just going to be outraged about it because
Yeah.
especially a person who has kids and is married, or just has family member. You don't want to hear that from a news outlet, or your kids find out on the internet. That's just not right, So I understand that's their job. I understand they want to, be ahead of ABC and NBC and Fox News and all that, and be the first ones to cover this huge story. It's a huge story. I mean, it's absolutely everywhere. I mean, I turned on when the minute that you told me, everything on Instagram, everything on Twitter, everything on Facebook, everything was about him. I mean, just everybody posting about it. So it's just such a huge, huge, devastating news to the community, for people who, liked him, to people who disliked him, for people who didn't really care about him. It's just so sad, especially his daughter. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, so where this gets tricky is, which I think they took down the post, is where a lot of people are, well, I mean, that's a different story, but yeah, let's not even get into that. So this is kind of funny, but not, where they say that TMZ, so after reporting this and putting out misinformation about the daughter not being involved in the crash, then they jump to the next story, which is Wendy Williams left life. So while I understand it's messed up, the news keeps going. The news keeps going, and they have to be on top of the next big thing. I'm torn on this. So as somebody who values privacy, their family should know first.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. But now if I'm TMZ and I'm one of the top guys there or whatever making the judgment call, I would assume that if I have the information, the cops have the information, and they should report it to the family as well. So this should be breaking everywhere at the same time. So I don't know. It's tragic. It's horrible that this happened to anybody, really, anybody. And what's also messed up is that there's more than just Kobe and his daughter in this helicopter. There's other people in there. And unfortunately, he's so big that you gloss over that. But to those family members, our heart goes out to you guys. It's horrible.
It was a baseball coach, his wife, his daughter. So that's devastating to their family. There was another teammate with her mom, and then I believe that the other woman that was on the plane was one of the basketball coaches for the team. I am not 100% sure on that, but my heart goes out to all of those families, not just Kobe Bryant's family, because it's just a very tragic, and those young girls that were only 13 years old.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. No matter your age, but
of course.
Especially when you're so young and you have your whole life ahead of you, it's crazy. And us having kids, it really hits home.
Yeah. I was watching the news this morning, and I'm not gonna lie, I was literally like bawling watching it, and had to like walk away and finish getting ready, because I was like, this is too sad for me. Watching all his old teammates and friends crying on the courts, has NBA games did a silent prayer for him, and it's just. And I can't even just imagine what his wife is going through right now. So
did anything come out
to them as well
regarding the pilot and why they chose to go out in that condition?
So I'm confused about that, because they said 9 people passed away, and the 9 people are the ones that I mentioned.
Right.
No word on a pilot. So I'm not sure exactly.
Maybe one of them is a pilot?
If they're not counting the pilot yet in the news, because originally they even said 5 people, then they went to 9. So I don't know if all of the news outlets have the correct information. But apparently it was foggy. There was a very heavy fog in LA, and they said even the LA police helicopters were grounded because of the fog. So they're investigating, has to see why they even took off in such weather. So I guess we'll hear more about it from the news. Who knows if sometimes I feel like they don't really end up updating us completely. It's not going to make a difference at this point.
So TMZ is known for this, because you mentioned this to me earlier, where when Ryan Dunn died, Steve-O got a call at 5 a.m. That's how they found out from TMZ?
And that's how he found out, because they wanted to get his input on his friend.
But again, is
at
that
5 in the morning?
No, that's
just.
Well, it's kind of rough, because if they're on East Coast, which I don't know, if they're
East
Coast,
what coast they're on.
8 a.m.
The point is, even if it's at 8 a.m., the point is getting a phone call from TMZ about your friend, and it doesn't matter. You shouldn't be calling somebody like at five,
that's their
so
thing.
early in the morning. If I'm pretty sure that they knew that this person just passed away, that not everybody's going to know he passed away yet. So if you're calling to get a statement on that, more than likely the person doesn't know yet.
I don't know. In that particular case, I kind of disagree. And it's not like he's a family member.
Yeah,
he's a good friend,
still.
but
Even as a friend, I don't want to hear from the
different.
news out. I want to hear it from like their family.
Yeah, but
or
then you're never
something,
going to hear about it. I mean,
know.
there's going to be a point where you hear about this stuff. Let me just quickly go through this, see if they've made any comments. I feel like this is in their best interest is probably to. I mean, I guess you acknowledge it and you just put out a statement like I just kind of tried to explain. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know if you can excuse it. Maybe they're going to try to ignore it and hey, this never happens. Which
they're not
seems
going to
this way.
I don't think they're going to contest it. That's their job. That's what they do. That's what they're known for. This is not the first time people are backlashing it because of the fact of how much people care for Kobe and how it went about, and his wife had to find out that way, and his kids had to find out that way.
Yeah.
Because the other families, I'm assuming, since there was no names released and because they didn't really know who they were able to hopefully find out. Or not even, because if a family member knew that they were on the helicopter with Kobe, that's how they found out. So, yeah, it's just devastating. And again, condolences to all of the families and prayers, because it's going to be a hard road ahead for all of them. Vanessa, his wife, they have 3 other girls left behind, and one of them is only 7 months old. So that hits home since, we have babies, and that's just devastating.
Yeah, I don't see any information. I'm sure that I would be so surprised that TMZ wouldn't. I mean, there's so much backlash that they should. I mean, I assume that something is going to pop up.
I mean,
but anyways, it's a horrible story. We feel terrible about the situation. It's. I mean, that's at the end of the day, you never know when it's your time. That's why you should try to. It's corny. Everybody says it. But you really should try to live every day as if it was your last.
Yeah.
Don't go crazy and spend all your money. But but the idea is to
enjoy life.
You really
as
don't
much as
know.
possible.
It could be so that's a freak accident. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what the stats are on helicopters, but I would assume that they're way safer than car crashes in that sense. But it could happen anywhere. I mean, a plane could land on this building. You could be driving, a bus can hit you. You could be walking and there's a sinkhole that suddenly comes up. You just never know. I mean,
sometimes it's your time to go, even if we we don't understand it. We don't understand why, because you think to yourself, why is it time for a 13-year-old to go? Kobe was only 41. That's still super young.
That's crazy. I thought he was older. I thought he was like in his mid-40s, but
he's 41. Was 41. So it's. It's hard to come up with a reason why it's meant to be, but sometimes it's your time to go. Yeah.
Thankfully, I mean, hopefully he was a smart guy. I'm sure he had all his finances, so financially they should be set. In that sense, they're a little, there's some, if you want to take some sort of.
Well, if you want to think of it as, there's families out there that lose their husband or wife and are left financially struggling, and you have to deal with that on top of the fact that you're grieving for them. So, yeah, it's one less thing she has to worry about, but it's still just devastating. And his parents, I believe, are still alive. So you don't expect to lose your child. So everybody's just grieving. So many people.
Yeah. So anyways, we just want to wrap this up with saying our hearts go out with everybody in that helicopter, all the families, everybody that I'm sure is suffering. I mean, that's just... I can't even put myself in that situation. It's just everybody, lives have changed. It's just, and it happens all day, every day, unfortunately, in different situations all over the world. It's just that this is so public, and it's a figure that's so well known that, and even if you don't like Kobe per se,
it's still
just a situation.
Just for his family.
Everybody can relate in some way. Yeah. So yeah. Hopefully our next video will be a little more upbeat.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Thanks. Subscribe. Like the button. Like the button? Or hit the like button.
Hit the like button somewhere down here.
Or hopefully you liked it. If you don't, then just it's okay to press the other one.
It's okay to move on.
All right. Thank you.